Hello everyone, my name is Emanuel Upshaw and I want to thank you for watching the very first episode of the Emanuel Show. I hope that you all watch, enjoy, and feel inspired by the interviews I'll show this season. The Emanuel Show is a platform that I built for people to tell their stories their own way through their own words. To simply put it, it's a platform of inspiration for you. Take the time to watch, learn, and grow with the guests that we invite on the show. I hope that you take something from the interviews as a source of inspiration for when you feel sad, lost, and alone. I take pride in what I've been able to achieve in building this show, and I want to show the world that you don't have to be stuck in a bad situation in your lives. I want you to know that I'm new at this, and as I grow, I pray that you grow with me. And in this time of our growth, we become who we were born to be, and that's an inspiration for generations to come. Okay, that's enough from me. I want to take you into our first interview. I want to introduce to everyone a very fine human being, the one, the only, Mrs. Zara Northover. Zara is the epitome of class and perseverance, and I take pride in telling her story first on the show because she's such an inspiration to me. So, here it is, Ms. Zara Northover. So Zara, tell people who you are. Who is Zara? What do you want to tell people about yourself?
So it's actually really funny. There's a dentist that, I travel to go to my dentist. I have a dentist in DC, got a dentist in Boston, and my dentist in Boston that supported me all through college, he would always tell people, have you met Zara? And I'm like, what does that even mean? And he was like, she is an experience.
You are.
And that's,
you got it.
So that's now, I was like, that is perfect. That is me. Like Zara Northover is an experience, right? Because I love people, I love to help people, and I just want to, I feel like I was literally born to be an inspiration and impact this world in some way. And even before my coach died, because I am a 2008 Olympian, I am the owner of Moving in Faith, a brand that started while I was competing internationally. And I'm, a mortgage banker at Quicken Loans.
Girl, you answering all the questions first. Oh my God.
I do a lot. So I'm an experience that, and a fighter and someone that fights for others. And that's why my fight is so strong, because others are my why. Not even myself, it's other people.
Okay, since you said everything, all my questions, we're gonna go back and take it a little bit slower. Growing up, the young girl, Zara Northover, who are you? How did you grow up? What is it about that young girl? How did you get that fight?
So we have stories on stories on stories. So let's try to sum it all up. My mom she was a single mom raising me. I am one of 21 kids and 7 different mothers. My father, being all of 4'11", was just a man of let's just say he was rambunctious and had a presence. So I do feel like I did get that from him. But ultimately what happened was, because it was just me and my mom, and she has a thick Jamaican accent, it caused me to grow up early. I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, and it was hard for her to find a job. It was hard for her to, in New York, it was hard for her to get interviews. It was hard for her to get an apartment. And I remember her telling me what to say on the phone when I'm all of 10 years old. And I would be doing the calls because I don't sound Jamaican, and just to make sure that she could get a place. So in the back of my head, I'm thinking, why? Why do we have to do that? Why don't people just accept you for how you sound and what you're doing right now? Why do I have to be that voice, right? But then I was that voice. I could be that voice. And I think that's really where it started for me. From the athletic standpoint, 4 years old, so even earlier. I remember I was in the gym and I saw this name, Vinny Testaverde, on the wall, and I remember saying, Mr. B, how do I get my name on the wall? And he just looked at me and he was like, you're gonna be a star. I could see it. And then before I knew it, I was just constantly in athletics and competing and just winning everything that I tried to do or be. Michigan, Detroit.
How did you end up here? Tell me about it.
So I've lived everywhere. I've lived in North Carolina. I've lived in Flagstaff, Arizona. I got my degree from Northeastern University in Boston, obviously a master's in Eastern. And but what happened was, there was a coach that saw a video of me circulating the internet, right? And he said that, I think that I could help this girl make the Olympics. So it was 2007 at the time. And when my friend called to tell me that, I was like, I'm packing my car up. I packed up my little 2001 Ford Focus with all of my stuff. I drove from Massachusetts to Arizona, and I competed, and lo and behold, he did help me make it the 2008 Olympic Games, and then he got the job at the University of Michigan the following year. So after the Olympics, now I'm like, well, if he's leaving, I'm not staying in Arizona. Like, what am I staying here for? So I decided to pack up all my stuff. I literally packed up what I could pack up in the little 2001 Focus, and I sold all of my stuff that was in the studio apartment, and I drove to Michigan and had no place to stay. So I reached out to a Christian organization, Athletes in Action, and I said, is there somebody that's willing to put me up? And I stayed with strangers for all of 3 months, and they became family. They became my Michigan mom and dad. I competed at the University of Michigan to try to make the 2012 Olympic Games. That same year, I lost my father, my brother, and my coach. And when I had every reason to fail, right, I still tried to find a way to succeed. And I did not make the Olympic Games. I threw 16.99. I needed to throw 17.2. But ultimately, what I did find was that moving in faith, my brand was all over London. I'm talking about athletes, Taekwondo, Jamaican Olympic champion. I'm seeing runners, I'm seeing sprinters, I'm seeing the Jamaican US team, I'm seeing fans all wearing Moving in Faith shirts that I had created and wristbands. And I thought, man, look at God. Like, I wasn't meant to be there, but I was meant to be there. A form of me, something I started. And the coach that passed away with cancer had said to me before he died, your mission is beyond the circle. That circle that I throw the shot put in, he was like, your purpose is beyond it. This is just the initial platform to get you where you're supposed to go. So just keep moving in faith.
I love how you jumped straight into that, because I was going to ask you about it. Now that I know everybody's wearing it, this is something. You didn't bring a shirt. Do you have a? I got
my wristband on.
Okay, cool.
Same
We're gonna zoom in. We're gonna try to zoom in on the moving in faith. Let's zoom in. We got it. Moving in faith. I want you all to know that brand. The brand is in and of itself. It's something that I had the opportunity to watch her grow and how it grew. I was really, really inspired. I am very, very inspired by that. And I think that it's something, it's definitely a movement. Like whatever you do, you're moving in faith. The Emanuel Show is a movement of faith. But I don't have money to get this on. Somebody's here filming this out of the goodness of his heart. And to be quite honest, I'm very, very thankful. Movement in faith it should be a national term. It should be coined, because at the end of the day, especially when you're embarking on a new journey, that's the movement of faith. That's very much exactly what it is. So, bravo to you in that. So, tell me about this. You mentioned how you started the clothing brand. You didn't get a chance to compete in the 2012 games, but you're still here in Michigan. You went to Eastern, got your master's degree. The next step for you was to get a job at Quicken Loans. Now, how you got this job, you got to tell me. Retell me, how did you get this job?
So for whatever reason, I'm not sure why, right? Like, they always tell you when you graduate, you got to be the woman that negotiates your salary and go for the gold, right? So like I applied my first time, I got an interview, I thought we were good at Quicken Loans, and ultimately they said I wasn't the right fit, just didn't work out. So then I applied again and again and again, 77 times again. And I didn't. And then a friend of mine was actually at Grand Circus in downtown Detroit, and he had said, Dan Gilbert's down here. So I was like, okay, not even 5 minutes. I'm at Grand Circus, and I chased Dan Gilbert down. And I'm like, Mr. Gilbert.
You weren't after a billionaire. Okay. So next time I see a billionaire, I'm going to have to go run and chase after somebody, because at the end of the day, that's just what we got to do to get going. So
I chased him down.
Chase after Dan Gilbert.
I chased him down. I said, we need to take a picture. So he's looking at me. He really kind of had that deer in headlights, look.
Oh my God, this girl. I can picture his face right now.
But then I told him, I've been trying to get a job at your company for so long, and I'm just not sure what's going on. And he was like, you're exactly the energy that we need. That's exactly what he told me. So I was like, we're going to take a picture. Because ultimately, and that's a pro tip, people aren't going to remember who you are. but they'll remember that they took a picture with you, so they have to correlate something. So I always take a picture with anybody that I meet, and then I email them later with the picture. And every time I email them, I send the picture.
Okay.
So I emailed him, I told him about my dreams of the Olympic Games and how I came from New York and I did all this stuff, and he connected me with some people, and still ultimately didn't get to the point of getting to the job right away, but eventually I did. And I do think that it spun off from, right, like meeting him and then being persistent and making it happen.
Quicken Loans, you got the job with the, of course, recommendation of Dan Gilbert. And where are you now in that?
So I
I
they
know you
passed
have a
up-
big footprint
They
in that
passed
company.
up on me 77 times, so you know I had to make a name for myself early.
Again, 78, baby. It happens this way.
So as soon as I got hired, I said, like in the back of my mind, I went to training mode. Like when you're an athlete, you're always an athlete. So I tell kids today, I went from being an Olympic athlete to a corporate athlete. So now I was like, okay, I'm going to get promoted as quick as I could get promoted, as fast as I could get promoted, and as high as I could within the period of time. So yep, I became MVP. I passed my test first try. I'm one of a few minority female president club bankers at Quicken Loans. You know, I have a 6-figure salary. I work really, really hard.
Come on, 6 people. Come on.
And I tell kids, like, you know, like I didn't see this for myself. I did not apply 77 times to do mortgage banking, right? Because I wasn't a math person and I thought that's what it is. But it's really about being a people person. So because I love to help people, that's why I'm really good at this job, because you feel that on the phone when you're having a conversation with me. I'm helping you to achieve the gold medal of having a key in your hand to own a home. And not many people can, you know, like afford to do that, much less. So if I help somebody find the way, that's a blessing. So I think about that every single phone call. I don't take it lightly. If I could nominate for my clients for awards, I nominate them. If I could send them gifts, I go ahead and do that. Like I do whatever it takes, because I'm not in this job for sales. I'm in this job to help people. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Ultimately, I emailed people, I sent YouTube videos of myself, I Instagrammed #HireMe. I put myself out there because I knew that as many no's as there are going to be, eventually somebody's going to say yes. And if you don't ask, you're not going to have that opportunity. So I tell people to be persistent and be unapologetically persistent.
I told you that Zara was the epitome of class and perseverance. Every time I hear her story, I get happy because she stuck to her guns and battled through every rough patch in her life. I hope that you are inspired by her story as well. I have another awesome interview with another Olympian. Aileen competed in the 2008 Summer Games in Beijing, China, and she also has an awesome story to tell herself. I give you Aileen Bailey.
Hi.
How are you, Aileen? How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good. I can't complain. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So we're just going to get past the preliminaries, and I want to jump straight into it. You are an Olympian.
Yes, I am.
Competed in the 2008 Summer Games in Beijing.
Yes.
You were on the Jamaican
Relay.
relay team. Yes, I'm sorry. Jamaican relay team. And you placed gold.
Yeah, we won a gold medal at the 2004 Olympics. The 2008 Olympics, I ran the first round, but the team didn't finish.
Oh, 2004. I'm sorry.
It was from the 2004.
Okay. Oh, 2004. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. Going straight, let's just jump straight into the young Aileen growing up. Who is this girl? Growing up in the house, in the house with 16, well, not necessarily in the house with 16 siblings. You have 16 siblings. And you grew up in a house but with 3 brothers, I believe. Yes. And so tell me about that experience and having the 16 siblings and just in that connection.
I mean, growing up with my brothers were fun because I never got to do the old girly stuff. And like, growing up in a family it's not wealthy, you have hand-me-downs. So all my hand-me-downs were from boys. So I was like a tomboy growing up. So I did everything with them. I played sport, climbed trees, did everything, went fishing, swimming, all that good stuff. So it was fun growing up with my brothers and having fun with them.
Now, you described yourself as a tomboy. You went fishing, you went swimming. You did everything that the boys essentially did. How did that push you out from the female community? How did other girls see you?
I was a little tougher and rougher, and I wasn't girly, so nobody really wanted to play with me because I'm like, whenever I play around, I'm a little more stronger because I had to get strong with my brothers because in order to play rough with them, I had to have like a different level of strength. So playing with another girl is, I pretty much hurt them, but not intentionally. Yeah.
Okay, and growing up as a girl in your family full of siblings, your parents, describe your relationship with your parents.
My mom and I are super close. My relationship with my dad wasn't as thick because he worked and he's married to my mom, but he really wasn't present because he had all the other activities. But and then he worked in the U.S. So he was a farm worker, so he worked in the U.S. I really didn't have like a bond with him. But my mom is my everything. Like I do everything for her. So we're super close, and I still keep it. We still have that same connection every day, and I think I have a little bit of her in me, so I have that caring, passionate personality from her.
Okay. Describe, and you mentioned that in your pre-interview that you was a fighter. Tell me that. How did this girl, even if as a tomboy, you just was it just because you were hanging around the boys, you were just interested in fighting a lot, or what was the fight? Was there, the feeling inside of being that fighter?
Let's see. Yeah, because hanging with boys, you have to be tough and you have to be on point. You have to be on top of everything, and you have to be able to hang with them. So you have to stay tough, and you have to. If you're fighting with your brother, you have to be able to match their strengths. That's pretty much it. And then I started getting into like fights after I was sexually assaulted when I was 10. So like any boy look at me the wrong way, it was like fight. So so I didn't know how to channel my anger, so fighting was my way of dealing with it. So that's how I became a fighter. And track helped me to harness that energy and that anger. So running helps, keeps me relaxed and help me to forget all my stress or trouble. And even now till this day, like exercise, any form of exercise or activity or running keeps me calm and relaxed.
You mentioned briefly that you were sexually assaulted. Can you share that experience with us?
Yeah, let's see. My mom had to leave me with the neighbor. But the neighbor had to leave to go somewhere, so she left us with her son. And we usually just play in the yard, but it was raining, so we all went into the house. And when everybody was running out, I got pulled back, and like he forced himself onto me, and it hurt. So I tried to scream, but he had his hand over my mouth. And then one of the kids realized that I wasn't with them, so they came back to get me, and that's what distracted him. But he had already was trying to penetrate, so I had already bruised and hurt, and I was scared and mad. I didn't know how to tell anybody. And then in Jamaica, like when stuff like that happened to you, the victim is at fault. It's always the victim that's fault, and it's what you do. And I didn't want to tell anybody because my dad is aggressive, so I would have gotten in trouble and like, well, what did you do? Or I would have gotten a spanking or something like that. So it would have been my fault. So I just hit it, and then I got sick, so my mom had to give me a bath. So when she was bathing that area, it hurt, and she was like, "What did you do?" I was like, "Yeah," because I'm a tomboy. So I was like, "Well, I climbed the tree and I slid down." So it kind of bruised. She's like, "I told you not to climb trees," but I couldn't tell her what really had happened. So I kept it bottled up for years. So then that anger stayed with me until my teacher directed it into running.
Okay. Now, you definitely just mentioned that, that's what helped you channel that into running. Now, in school, and your teacher's picking up on the fact that you're angry and that you needed an outlet. That's what broke you into running. Tell me about that. When you really realized, like, this is for me. How does this work? Like, tell me about that.
I think it hit me when I was like 12, and I won my parish championship in high schools in Jamaica. They recruited, so they were starting to recruit. So I was like, oh, so this is how good it feels. And then I got to pick my school, and usually you have to take a common entrance and to get into high school. I had passed that for a high school in my parish, but then the school that my role model went to, Merlin Arctic, they came. And I was like, oh, cool, I'm going to go to her school. Because I started getting into track afterward, like researching people and watching people run. And I was like, okay, cool, I get to go to Vertex where my role model went. And And then high school, then I got a scholarship to college, and college I wanted to be I wanted to be a vet, but then when I got to college, my direction changed because I wanted to be more in the field of like helping be able to have access to kids that has been through like the situation that I have been through, in order to help them and to like kind of show them that it doesn't matter what happened to you, there you have outlets and you can get past that situation that happened to you. It's gonna take a while for you to get over it. So as an adult, I still struggle with like flashbacks or memories of that situation. But I'm here and I'm strong, and I'm an Olympic gold medalist. I'm a college graduate, and I get to go around and motivate people. My friend Zara, we did an amazing day yesterday of just going through and speaking with the big kids from Big Brother Big Sister in high school, and a couple of kids that were at a boxing gym. So it gave me the outlet to actually reach out and touch other people.
Yeah. Yes, I wanted to skip over the Olympics. We already talked about that. We've seen it. We can go back and watch it. But and when you were talking about going back and reaching back, that's what I really wanted to get to, because I feel like that's something that we need. You could hear inspiration, and you could hear somebody say go after your dream or get it out. You could hear it a million times, but until you get that touch from somebody that really has been through something, that's the point where you can turn your life. That turns your life. That's what happened with me. I found out that somebody else has been through something that's similar to what I've been through, and it helped me to channel my energy. So I love that. I love how you're putting yourself out there and really letting it go, reaching back and touching the kids that you can live a life something similar to this.
Yeah.
You can come out of it. You don't necessarily have to let that weigh you down.
Yeah.
I love that. So tell me this one last thing, because my producer's wrapping me up. Tell me this, to the young girl back in Jamaica, what would you say to her now, who doesn't feel like she has a way out, who really needs something to go on? Can you give her a little bit of inspiration right now?
I would tell her that I am proud of her, proud that what she went through helped her to grow into an amazing adult, and to be able to have like a positive influence on others, and to just continue to be the strong little fighter that she is, and just always stay confident and love yourself no matter what, and don't allow people to change your view of yourself, because you're only in competition with yourself, and you can make or break you, and don't allow anybody to steal your joy or dim your light to just shine bright like the diamond that you are.
Oh, I love that. Didn't I tell you Aileen was an awesome person as well? And I hope that you found something inspirational in her story that you can use to get through your situation that you've gone through in your life. I encourage you to become motivated and to pursue your goal, never allowing yourself to become stuck again. From my heart to yours, I pray that you be inspired. And while you are on your journey of inspiration, I pray that you inspire someone else. God bless you, and I'll see you all next time.